Hi guys, welcome back to Dev Astrology. Today I'm coming up with a very important video of the transit of Mars in the sign of Aquarius. And folks, this is an important bit because usually I avoid doing individual planet transits, but of late Mars is making some important moves. It went into Capricorn into exaltation and has been in exaltation till 22nd of February, albeit he continues to remain in its combust status. And as it enters into the sign of Aquarius, it will be coming into conjunction with Rahu forming Angarak Yoga. Now, yes, through the course of February, you will find other planets, or in fact in March as well, other planets as well, like Venus, Mercury, Sun. At one point in time, Moon would also be entering. And therefore, there will be a multi-planetary positions which we are going to capture in our monthly March reading as well. However, in this video, I want to specifically touch upon the conjunction of Mars with Rahu because it forms Angarak Yoga, a crucial yoga coming into picture, and it will be creating its impact, its magnification, its explosive energies into our lives depending on your sign, your lagna as well as your moon. Now you can watch this video both from a lagna as well as moon sign video. If your lagna and moon signs are different, I will recommend you to watch both of those sections. Now folks, it's important for us to understand that Mars is a planet that depicts energy. It depicts your passion, it depicts your vitality in a way, it depicts your focus to achieve something, to accomplish your goals, to chase your dreams. It shows your intellect as well. Whilst Rahu is about magnification, it is about expansion, it is also about illusion. And when Mars and Rahu, which both tend to possess some bit of malefic energy, of course, Rahu is an absolute malefic, what happens is that a fiery combination comes into picture, which is full of passion, full of aggression, heightened energy and ambitions that can be surpassed at any limits. And therefore, it is crucial for us to understand that depending on the ownership of the houses of Mars in your birth chart, depending on your lagna or your moon sign, and its combination or its conjunction coming into play in the sign of Aquarius, what sort of an impact will come in our lives. So Aries, as you guys can see on your chart here, for you, Mars happens to be your lagna lord. And he has come into conjunction with Rahu in the 11th house. Now, this is important because for you folks, not only he is the lagna lord, but also the lord of your 8th house. First of all, the shift of Mars into the 11th house, the house that denotes your networks, your friend circle, your wishes, goals, desires, ambitions. Combination here is giving you a ruthless drive. This is about that Angarak Yoga, that explosion of passion, that explosion of energy coming into play for you folks. And there can be a very intense focus from your side, almost like a ruthless drive to chase money, to chase ambition, to chase your goals, desires. There is going to be a definitive magnification of your efforts in the next 37, 38 odd days. The other bit that you have to understand here is that since Mars happens to be the lord of your 8th house, there could be this sudden shift, sudden possibility of massive financial gains, money income coming into picture. You could also take some sudden decision and impetus towards, some expansion that you've been planning with respect to a new side hustle or expansion of your current business streams, business incomes, value streams, new product areas, new service areas that you might want to looking forward to expand. But remember folks, that 11th house is also about your friends network, and here those energies can also see some sort of an explosion. There could be heated arguments coming into picture. There could be very passionate discussions, maybe regarding the World Cup that is going on right now or any of the sports that you enjoy. So from that perspective too, there are high chances that some sort of a heated situation or a passionate situation, if not an argument, could come into picture in your friend circle, with your elder siblings for that matter. Since Rahu energy is crucial, you've got to understand the strength of Rahu, whether or not it is ill placed or well placed, the dignity of Rahu in your natal birth chart. And that will also give you a clarity that given that this Rahu in transit is in its own Shadvisha nakshatra, it can bring in some evil energies as well. So it might force you to cut ties with few people in your friend circle, in your family circle if your elder siblings are there, or it could lead into some sort of a financial dispute as well coming into picture. So you've got to be careful on those fronts too. You might face some sort of a betrayal in your life from your friend network. You might be anticipating something, but there could be a financial related cheating that might come into picture, and you'll have to be careful on all those fronts. Now we've got to understand that this is a placement of Mars from where it is going to be giving an aspect towards your 4th house, your 5th house, and your 6th house. Fueled or driven by the impetus of Rahu's magnification, expansion, and explosive energy coming into picture, you could be having some harsh speech, use of strong words could be coming into picture towards your family within your immediate social circle itself. So be watchful in that front. There's a possibility that you will be very much focused towards your gains, towards your possessions for that matter. Sometimes people do infer this as hyper miserly activities. I don't think that you will be miserly in your behavior, but more so frugal. You could be protective towards your family members. You could be protective towards the kind of money spending you are doing. You will be diligent about your income and very diligent about your expenses too. And therefore, your bank balance should see a potential improvement during this period. Aries, you've got to understand that whilst its aspect on the second is impacting your money and your family members, from a food perspective as well, you've got to be watchful that you are not eating very hot spicy food, because it can cause some bit of challenge with respect to your stomach portion. Mars aspect fueled with the presence of Rahu towards the 5th house where Ketu is placed is going to bring some sort of possessiveness in your behavior, in your relationships. You could be losing your temper towards your romantic partner or your children as well. So be careful in that front. Then Mars aspect is also falling into your 6th house, which means that there is going to be a remarkable discipline that you're going to be bringing in with respect to your day-to-day activities, overcoming any kind of complications, difficulties, challenges that you are facing through the course of this time. I think this is also going to be a brilliant period for many of you Aries to address your debts, and you can pay off based on the incomes, based on the gains that you are deriving at this point in time. My suggestion, my advice to you folks would be that focus towards deriving the profits, but don't go about lending your money. This is a remedy, a proactive thought process that I would want you to leave this video with. Now, before you jump on to watching another video based on your Lagna or based on your moon, depending on the sign, I'll request you guys to please smash on that like button, subscribe to Dev Astrology, and keep watching. Om Namah Shivaya, Har Har Mahadev. Taurus, for you folks, what's happening is that there will be this cluster of planets in the sign of Aquarius in your 10th house. Now, we will talk at length in the monthly video about the impact of everything else, but for this video perspective, Mars, which happens to be the lord of your 12th house and your 7th house, has moved 11 places away and 4 places away respectively to come in conjunction with Rahu. Now, the best part that is happening for you folks is that there is immense directional strength which is coming into your 10th. And therefore, your ability to translate your plans into action is going to be magnificent. What I see is that this is going to be the period where you are going to see definitive volatility at your workplace. From your career, status, social respect perspective, there is going to be some definitive impact coming into play. Now, what sort of an impact comes into picture is also dependent on the dignity of Rahu in your natal chart. But since Mars happens to be the 12th lord into the 10th house, it does indicate that there is going to be some foreign element or some international partnership which is going to be either creating a stress or a dynamo of sorts in your 10th house of career and professionalism. I anticipate for people who are working in industries that are related to import and export, there is going to be a definitive change in your social status, in your work status. There could be a potential growth or decline. I cannot just promise positive outcomes, Taurus. It depends on your natal Rahu as well. But this transitory impact will form that strong, explosive Angarak Yoga. Now, there could be some sort of a power struggle which could be coming into play. After all, Sun is also placed at least for the first half of February in the 10th house itself. And there could be an intense fight which could be coming into play with authorities or authoritative figures at your workplace. Now, your workplace could be your job, it could be your business, therefore your clients, or it might as well be, from a student perspective, anything that happens in your college, in your institutions. Even for a homemaker, it means that your home becomes your workplace, and there is going to be some sort of a authoritative shift, some sort of a difficult situation, argumentative situations, or a stamp of your own authority coming into picture. You might be feeling that there is a sudden urge of change of job coming into play. Now, this could be dependent, either there is a job loss sort of a situation which makes you desperate and you take hyperactive actions towards making things happen again for yourself, or for people who've been planning to make a job switch, there could be a proactive effort, considerate effort coming in from your side, not just out of compulsion, not just out of impulsive decision making, but something of a hidden frustration that might urge you to fight for something, to take a stance towards your career. Now, for my business audience, impact could be coming in similar fashion for you folks as well, where you might want to take some drastic actions, some drastic steps to figure out a way to expand, add more services, add more products. Even though if Mars is combust, Rahu is giving an expansionist energy there. And you've got to understand, this could be resulting into transformative business partnerships for you, because after all, it's about the seventh lord which is coming into the 10th house. For people who are in formal relationships, formal partnerships, there could be heated argument with your partner as well coming into picture. So be careful on that front. It could be your spouse, it could be your professional partner with whom you are collaborating. But at the same time, it gives the possibility of some growth and success coming in your partner's way as well. So for my married audience, you guys could be the reason, Taurus, that your supporting partner, your better half, your other party, other half might see some sort of an explosive growth or shift in the mindset, shift in their social status, or shift in their assets that could be coming into picture. You've got to understand that Mars from here is giving an aspect to your first house towards your Lagna itself. Yes, your passion will increase, your energy will increase, but so will your hard speech. There will be harshness in your speech that could be coming into picture. There could be a shift in your temper that could be detrimental, and therefore you'll have to be very proactive in terms of monitoring yourself throughout this period. This Mars is giving an aspect back into the sign of Leo, where Ketu is placed into your fourth house, and therefore I see the possibility that there is some sort of real estate related shift, expansion, or an attempt to expand in that direction. It could be in terms of your investment, it could be in terms of some kind of upgrades that you have to make, some kind of leaky pipes that you have to mend in. All those situations can come into picture. There's a possibility that any kind of trade that you've been finalizing in that direction, any kind of intellectual property that you've been trying to build, it is going to give you some auspicious positive results. This Mars will continue to give an 8th aspect towards your 5th house into the sign of Virgo. And therefore, I would want you to not be rushing into speculative gains. However, your tendency could be high to trade in, to make some fast gains during this period. It gives protective energies towards your loved ones, towards your romantic partner, or even your child. Make sure that protection is not getting too overwhelming experience for them, or a place of suffocation if you're talking about your romantic partner, because sometimes being overprotective, over possessive can be detrimental in the relationship as well. After all, your lord of expenses, the 12th lord, is coming into that magnification in your 10th. And therefore, I do anticipate that for some of you, Taurus, big spending in the form of real estate or any kind of automobile could also be coming into picture. So people who are planning purchases in those directions, well, in a way, this Angarak Yoga for you folks, Taurus, is giving you that definitive opportunity to make things happen. Now, before you jump on to watch another video of or the another section where you cover about your Lagna or about your moon sign, unless and until both of them happen to be Taurus, I would request you guys to please smash on that like button, subscribe to Dev Astrology, and keep watching. Om Namah Shivaya, Har Har Mahadev. Now, Geminis, for you folks, this multi-planetary conjunction is happening in the 9th house in the sign of Aquarius. However, we are looking into the combination of Rahu, the expansionist, with Mars. Mars happens to be the lord of your gains, of your 11th house, of your wish fulfillment, and your 6th house of daily service and hard work. And when it comes in conjunction with Rahu, what we see is there is a sort of an ideological warfare which comes into play. Because now these contradictory energies are coming into play into the house of luck, into the house of fortune, father, gurus, mentors, superiors, bosses, long distance journeys. See, one possibility is definitely arising here, that there is going to be some sort of a question that you are going to have around your belief system, around the way your mentors are operating, your bosses are operating, or you could not be satisfied with certain religious beliefs, spiritual beliefs that might get triggered during this period. There is a possibility that you could get into heated arguments, into a verbal exchange with your father or with your fatherly figure, with your bosses, with your superiors, your teacher, your mentor, your professor for that matter. These argumentative situations could come into picture for spiritual or religious matters as well. And therefore, Gemini, it may not be a bad idea for you to take a step back and reflect whether or not such kind of a scenario is required, if it is necessitated. Now, since 9th house happens to be the house of long distance journeys, there is a possibility that you could face some bit of frustration, disruptions, difficulties, challenges, unexpected problems arriving during your long distance journeys, during your pilgrimages, if you have undertaken anything of that sort. Some bit of a difficult situation is going to come. And why is that? Because your 6th lord, lords of obstacles and problems, is getting that magnification from Rahu. But at the same time, you have to understand this Mars carries a crucial energy of the 11th. It is about your desires, wishes, goals, and fulfillment. It's about your income. And therefore, Gemini, there could be some sort of a shift that might come into picture in terms of your income stream, new job opportunities, new career opportunities, support coming in from bosses or work situations with people that you are collaborating, maybe your professor in a foreign land, in a foreign country as well. Maybe your desire to travel to a foreign place could come into fruition, Gemini, during this period itself. This 39 days window is giving you that possibility. This is also an opportune time for you to materialize on your ambitions, on your goals. There is a potential possibility that if your Saturn is well placed, your 9th lord, or if Rahu is decently placed in your birth chart, then there could be some expansion coming in with respect to financial gains due to sheer luck. Your luck could be supporting you. See, at the end of the day, we cannot undermine the fact that multiple planets transiting into the 9th house could have some positive implications as well during this period. And therefore, Geminis, whilst I'm giving you that warning around frustrating scenarios, argumentative situations coming into picture because of Mars' 6th energy, obstacles, difficulties coming into picture, there is an equal or stronger possibility of the 11th lord, which has moved 11 places away from itself and then facing that magnification of Rahu. So yes, there could be big time illusion with respect to your desires, but when you are going to be shooting for the stars, you might as well land on the moon. That possibility, Gemini, is definitely coming into picture. My only advice to you would be, or remedy if I may say, you must avoid any kind of debates around politics, around belief system, around spiritual or religious matters. Unnecessary arguments must be let go. And you must not forget respecting your elders, respecting your gurus, respecting your teachers or mentors, your bosses, because that is going to go a long way once this conjunction is done. Now, before you jump into the another section or other video where you can look about your other moon sign or lagna, if you're not both, from Gemini perspective, my request to you folks will be kindly smash on that like button, subscribe to Dev Astrology, and keep watching. Om Namah Shivaya, Har Har Mahadev. So Cancer, as you can see on the screen, you have this combination coming into the sign of Aquarius in the 8th house. And Mars happens to be the lord of your 10th and your 5th house, forming that conjunction in the 8th. Now, multiple planets will be traversing through your 8th house throughout the course of this period. But Angarak Yoga coming into picture in the 8th is not an easy one, and it's something that I would count to be in the danger zone. Well, 8th house represents sudden events. It talks about longevity. It talks about occult sciences. And when a malefic planet like Rahu in its own nakshatra Shatbisha, where it is transiting right now, is getting in conjunction with another mild malefic, of course, Mars in your case, Cancerians, happens to be a planet which is benefic by nature. But since this conjunction is coming into the 8th house, I am counting it to be a difficult situation, a difficult placement. Mars is your Yoga Karka planet. But in the 8th house in this combination, where Sun had already seen its eclipse come into picture, there is a very high accident prone window coming into play. And therefore, it is going to be crucial, Cancerians, that you are monitoring your health, you are taking care of yourself whilst doing your day-to-day chores, or whilst commuting, whilst driving, whilst being on the road. Accidental situations are coming into picture. Then you've got to understand that this is the house of secrets. And Rahu has entered into Shatabisha. I had given that indication in my Rahu video as well. So Mars' presence here is indicating that there could be a sudden explosion of some secret coming into light, which may not be a great news for you folks. Some hidden thing which you would want to be under the wraps might come into the light of the world. Mars happens to be making an 11 places movement, being the 10th lord in your 8th house. And therefore, some sort of a sudden shift coming into your career, in your business, at your workplace, at your office, or in your education. If you are a student watching this video, any of those sudden shifts in your workspace are definitively possible. Now, yes, because Mars is a Yoga Karaka planet, we would like to assume that this change will be a positive one, which means that some of you could see a shift in your job. Even if you are inflicted with a job loss, you should be able to bounce back with an equally decent or better opportunity coming your way. From a business perspective, it could result into sudden gains, sudden income coming your way. Now, this could also mean that some sort of speculative gains might also fall in your lap, because Mars happens to be the lord of your 5th house in the 8th at this point in time. Therefore, trading, equity related investments, or any other asset classes, especially the likes of cryptocurrency, technology stocks, etc., might be delivering you some positive outcomes as well, Cancerians. So I see a sudden shift coming into play with respect to finances. However, there could be issues related to your joint finances, because 8th house happens to be second from your 7th. So you'll have to be watchful if you are a married person, or if you have shared resources with a business partner. There could be some sort of financial constraint, push and pull sort of situations arriving in your life. Now, at the same time, you've got to understand 8th house represents inheritance, legal inheritance, insurance related matters. And whilst I've called out this conjunction to be a danger zone for people who would actually desire something of that sort, maybe a negative impact coming into somebody in your family, which might result into insurance related payouts or inheritance situations as well. Now, I know most of my audience would be never desiring that bit to come into play, but from a yoga perspective, that possibility always remains. We've got to understand that Mars from here is giving an aspect into your 11th house, and therefore your gains are definitely going to be impacted. Remember, your 11th lord Venus will be in exaltation. So we will talk about that at length in the March monthly reading video, which will release later in the week. Then Mars from here is also giving an aspect towards your 2nd house and your 3rd house. One thing is for sure, your ability to be enterprising, to be undertaking new initiatives, to be overcoming your challenges is going to be high. But at the same time, 3rd house denotes hobbies, games, sports, and I would warn you to be very proactive in terms of monitoring any kind of injuries coming into picture, any kind of damage in terms of your health loss, accidental situations whilst pursuing your hobby. Please be watchful. Then the other bit is that with its aspect towards the 2nd house where Ketu is already placed, a possibility is striking hard that some sort of difficult argumentative scenarios, heated situations could arise with your in-laws, with your immediate family members, because the 2 and 8 axis is coming into play. Your desire, your intent to be protective towards your money is going to be high, but at the same time, you will be looking for means to expand on your wealth. From a food perspective, I will warn you folks that please do not be eating too hot or spicy food, or else you could face some health troubles, especially with respect to your gut, intestine, acidity, or those sort of matters. Your stomach, ulcers, those kind of situations could be coming into picture. Last but not the least, my only advice before we part from this is that I would recommend you that if you are using any electrical equipment, if you are using some heavy machinery whilst you are driving, please be careful during this period. Any kind of elective surgeries that you have to undergo during this period, try and push that forward, avoid them, keep them off the radar if possible. Now, before you go on to watch some other video or another section where you can see your Lagna or your moon sign, whatever you've watched as Cancer, something else that you are going to check out, my request is, and of course, we have released all 12 signs from a Vedic astrology perspective. I recommend you to watch the other bit for your sign. But before you jump off, smash on that like button, subscribe to Dev Astrology, and keep watching. Om Namah Shivaya, Har Har Mahadev. Now, Leos, for you folks, this conjunction is coming into play in the 7th house. 7th house of business partnership, of marriage, of relationship. And somewhere or the other, what we can anticipate is that this is going to be your war zone. Your war zone is going to be your relationships, your spousal relationship, or your business relationship for that matter. After all, it's the Angarak Yoga that we're talking about. Now, Mars happens to be the lord of your 9th house and your 4th house. So for you folks, Leos, definitively he is a Yoga Karaka planet. And he has moved from 9th and 4th house, 11 places and 4 places respectively. What you can anticipate during this period is that your Lagna lord, which had already faced eclipse in the 7th house, will be there for up till the 15 days of March. And yes, we will do a deep dive into the presence of other planets in our monthly video, but I want to highlight here that there is a possibility of some sort of a ego clash, some sort of a high energy, high octane clash coming into picture with your spouse or with your business partner. Speech is definitely going to see some sort of an impact. Remember, Mars is giving an aspect to your Lagna. Therefore, you'll have to be extremely watchful of your own temper as well. You could see some sort of temper issues, some sort of aggression coming into play from your spouse or from your partner as well. And therefore, I'm alluding that any kind of ego clashes, any kind of high octane energy must be tried to be avoided from your end. Your partner during this period could feel extremely dominating. As I said, the energy would be high from their side as well. And therefore, the best strategy, the best remedy that you can adopt is that let go of some of that hold that you might want to have on top of your partner. Be it your business collaborators or your spouse, your life partner. Because if you let go of that grip, you will realize that there will be a diffusion of that energy, that aggression coming in from the other side as well. Because there is a high chances that you might also not choose to back down, and this is what I'll be worried about for you, Leos. Since Venus is also there for some bit, and later Venus is coming into exaltation. It's only in February where this combination is going to be there. Venus is going to come into exaltation. We'll talk at depth about that in the monthly reading, but you can see your passionate energy could also be on the rise. Therefore, some sort of heightened libido, heightened sexual attraction might also be coming into picture for some of you Leos during this period. This might result into jealousy, this might result into possessiveness, or it might just result into a lot of physical attraction coming into play between you and your partner. So there could be a positive spin as well, which might be coming into picture during this phase. Now you've got to understand that since Mars happens to be the ninth lord and it is coming in with that expansionist Rahu, it will bring the possibility of expansion of your luck. Some sort of a positive news could come for your bosses in terms of gains coming in their life, for your superiors, or in your business acumen through your clientele as well, because it's the 11th movement which is coming into play here. At the same time, you will have to understand that heated arguments, heated situations could arise at your workplace too, with your bosses, with your superiors. There could be a sheer difference of opinion. Now, if you are able to navigate that passion in a positive light instead of making it an argumentative situation, Leos, that can result into some sort of a financial gains as well. It can be very productive for you. Instead of making counterproductive, channelize this yoga for a positive outcome for yourself. Fourth lord has moved 4 places away from itself. There will be some sort of conflicting energies between your spouse and your mother as well. So those situations have to be navigated smartly, cleverly, and I don't know how much of a control you might have on two different people, but that event, that occurrence of some sort of a clash could come into picture there too. There could be some activities that you might want to pursue with respect to home improvement, with respect to your asset purchase, with respect to expansion of your properties, of your assets, movable, immovable properties, or in terms of your knowledge itself, in conjunction with your spouse, in partner, in collaborationship with your partner. So that is definitively going to be there. Now, this heightened energy that you are going to be experiencing, Leos, aspect of Mars into the 10th house, and then Venus being the Lord will remain majorly exalted through the month of March, is indicating that there is some sort of a positive gain coming in at your workplace through your own passion and energy. Just be mindful that you are channelizing it well and not translating into frustration and temper. Last but not the least, why did I say that? Because Mars aspect is into the 7th in your Lagna. And then Mars 8th aspect is into your 2nd house. Therefore, be watchful of your food consumption. You are going to be very protective about your family, sometimes overly aggressive towards them, but at the same time, you will be growing your wealth. You will be working in tandem with the outer world to expand on your wealth, to expand on your savings. Food precaution must be practiced so that you do not have any health related implications, stomach ulcers, stomach pain, mouth ulcers coming into picture during this period. Now folks, before you jump on to watch another section or another video, you've watched maybe Leo Moon or Leo Rising and you want to watch something else from my channel itself, my request would be to kindly smash on that like button, subscribe to Dev Astrology and keep watching. Om Namah Shivaya, Har Har Mahadev. Now, as you can see on the screen here, folks, that you have the cluster of planetary positions in your 6th house in the sign of Aquarius, where this Angarak Yoga is getting formed. Now, Mars for you folks happens to be the lord of your 8th house and your 3rd house. And therefore, when Mars moves 11 places away into the sixth house, it is forming a Vipreet Raj Yoga. And being the Lord of the third, moving 4 places away, it is going to bring some major expansion in your hard work and effort and energy. Now, you've got to understand that all of this is happening in the sixth house of enemies, obstacles, your day to day regimen, your debts, disease, loans, litigations, whatever you can think of, your job, service for that matter. And here, your two malefic planets like Mars and Rahu. Mars is partially malefic. It's not a yoga karka or a planet or a friendly planet for your lagna or for your moon sign Virgos, but it still happens to be a crucial planet because it carries that suddenness with it. It carries that energy with it, being the eighth and the third lord respectively. And therefore, when it forms that Vipreet Raj Yoga in your sixth house, it does give the indication that you will be working towards crushing your enemies, overcoming your obstacles during this period. This Angarak Yoga is like a blessing in disguise for you, Virgos, because you will be able to overcome competition of any sorts. If you are appearing for a academic competition, into some sort of an examination at your workplace, in your job, competing against your peers, competing in your business against multiple opponents for a bid, for a RFP sort of a situation, those areas there is going to be some positive outcome coming in for you. Again, for people who are involved in litigations, in loan related matters, if you are involved into legal battles of some sort, this is going to be a period, Virgos, where you might be able to overcome your enemies as well. You might be able to overcome your opposition. So that's a crucial period. However, you've got to remember, sixth house also denotes your health. Yes, Rahu is in Shatabisha. So there is going to be the ability, an increased ability, which is going to come into picture, that you are able to find cure of your problems, cure of your diseases. But since Mars happens to be your eighth lord, Vipreet Raj Yoga is coming into picture, which means good will happen only after something negative, something bad. And therefore, some sort of health risk, accidental situations, complications coming in from that perspective are definitely anticipated during this period. It is especially hinted towards your physical health. So you could be encountering sudden fevers, blood pressure spikes coming into picture, blood related issues, heart related illnesses. They could be bothering you during this time. This is one of the best periods for you to quit smoking and get away from those kind of habits, Virgos, because somewhere or the other you will take a sudden decision of just letting things go. So this way you can make a bounce back from difficult scenarios, from negative scenarios as well for yourself. Now at the same time, I see a magnification of your energies towards your daily regimen. You are going to be working like a soldier with a mission, with not ending appetite. Now, Mars, being the lord of the eighth house, is sitting in your sixth and giving an aspect into the sign of Taurus in your ninth house. It is indicating that there could be some harsh speech related complications coming into picture with your gurus, mentors, bosses, superiors, with your teachers, whatever that scenario be, whatever walk of life you're coming from. So be careful on that front, my friend Virgos, because you could be creating damaging situations there. Mars from here is also going to be looking into your 12th house where Ketu is placed. And therefore, definitively, some sort of expenses are coming into picture. But this is going to be a brilliant time for you folks if you are looking forward to expand your spiritual horizons, to expand your mind into deeper thoughts. Your sleep could be disturbed during this period. So be careful on that front as well. Whilst expenses could be on the rise, they could be on matters that really do not give the right ROI, the right return to your investment. So be watchful with respect to your investment strategies for sure. Now you've got to remember that Mars will give an aspect towards your first house, into your Rashi, into your Lagna as well, and therefore high temper, increased energy, being protective about your own internal matters, being secretive to a certain extent could also be naturally coming to you, Virgos, during this time. My advice for you during this period is that channelize your energy, channelize your aggression into a strict daily workout. That is going to turn the tables for you with any kind of difficult situation. Burn off some calories during this period, but do that safely, because the risk of some injury, some health related problem is on the rise for you. Now, before you jump onto the other section or any other video outside of the Virgos that you would want to watch on my channel with respect to this topic itself, my humble request to you folks would be kindly smash on that like button, subscribe to Dev Astrology, and keep watching. Om Namah Shivaya. Har Har Mahadev. Now, as you can see on the screen here, Libras, that this conjunction is happening in the 5th house for you folks. Angarak Yoga is coming into picture in your 5th house of love, romance, speculative activities, your intellect and your fame. And therefore, it is a critical one because this is where your casino mindset, your mindset of playing roulette in your life, playing that risky game can be dangerous, and it can result into some sort of an exposure coming in for you. And therefore, I'm starting this video with a caution, with a warning for you folks, Libras. You've got to understand that your Lagna Lord Venus during the month of February will be coming into exaltation. But we will deep dive into that affair, into that matter in the monthly reading. However, in this video, we are touching upon the collaboration of Mars with Rahu in your 5th house, which can result into extreme romantic impulsiveness coming into picture. There is going to be definitive heightened passion coming in for you, heightened energy, unsatiable desires that could be drowning you through the course of this period of 39 to 38, 40 days. Then this is also a timeline which is giving the possibility of you falling into some sort of a scandalous affair, some sort of a sudden situation arriving with somebody from a different place. And the reason that I say that is that Rahu is coming into its presence, bringing that foreign energy into play. But at the same time, Rahu is a major malefic. It is important for you to see the strength of Rahu in your birth chart as well. But because Mars doesn't happen to be a Yoga Karka planet for you folks, it is the Lord of the 7th house and the 2nd house for you folks. You've got to understand that under the influence of such a malefic Rahu, some sort of sudden negative situation might also arise which can dent in your romantic life. Now, it can create complications in your married life as well because Mars happens to be the Lord of your 7th house. Albeit it is moving 11 places away into a good placement. But with that Angarak Yoga coming into picture, any kind of negative thing coming into life, any kind of negative disclosure happening, especially with Rahu sitting in Satabhisha Nakshatra, which is about opening up of secrets, that risk is something you've got to be very careful about, and you have to be very mindful of that situation. Since 5th house talks about speculation, you could have speculative mindset, big gambling, taking high risk, high bets mindset during this period. And this can be detrimental as well because you could have the urge to gamble your way to success, to take risky bets into cryptocurrency, into technology stocks for that matter, automobile stocks for that matter, which can create overwhelming situations for you. Now the 7th Lord Mars is coming into that expansion 11 places away, means that for some of your partners, Libras, now that could be your romantic partner, which I mean your spouse, or your business partners as well. If you are running something in conjunction with your spouse or some external business partner, there could be financial gains coming into their lives too. Mars is your 2nd lord and it is moving 4 places away. So for your family also, or for your wealth, there could be some potential financial gain coming into picture. But you've got to remember that in the influence of Rahu creating detrimental situations with your family member or with your spouse is also highly probable. So you've got to be very careful whilst navigating this period. There are equal upsides and downsides coming into picture. That is how difficult this period can be. Now you've got to see that Mars, being the seventh lord and the second lord, is giving an aspect towards the eighth house into the sign of Taurus, where the lord of which is your Lagna lord itself, that of Venus. And this means that eighth house talks about occult, it talks about hidden pleasures, it talks about secret situations, and there could be very fiery secret situations coming into picture for you. I have already highlighted that a risk of opening up of some hidden matters is definitely there, so you've got to be careful on that front. But at the same time, Mars aspect is indicating that your urge to find some sudden gains, some sudden wealth, sudden income might also be heightened during this period. New sudden romantic affairs coming into picture, new relationships coming into picture could also be a probability, with Angarak Yoga being formed in the fifth and giving that aspect into the eighth house. Then Mars from here is also giving an aspect into the sign of Leo, where Ketu is placed. Lord of your 11th house, Sun, had already seen an eclipse come in the 5th house itself. So there could be some loss of judgment that you'll have to be careful about. But at the same time, it does give a possibility of some wish fulfillment, desire fulfillment, gains of some sort also coming your way. Maybe opening up of new income sources, new revenue sources, or something that you've been anticipating works in your favor might materialize during this 37 to 39-day period. Mars will also be giving an aspect towards your 12th house, which means expenses, stress, matters related to your sleep. It could be with respect to bed pleasures or with respect to insomnia could also be coming into picture. So be watchful on that front. My advice to you folks would be that since the second lord is forming that connection in the fifth, you can use your wisdom to find some gains, but do not be greedy about it. That is my core advice. Do not go about day trading. Protect your investments during this period. If you have kids, if you have children, you could see some rebellious behavior coming in from their side. You'll have to navigate that with extreme patience. Showing off anger to your kids may not be the best thing during this period. And of course, the risk of some sort of a negative thing which you may not want to be opened up in front of the world, some sort of an hidden exposure, you'll have to navigate your path cleverly on that front as well. Now, before you jump onto any other section or any other video, if you've done watching Libra and you want to see your other moon sign or your Lagna, my humble request to you folks will be, please smash on the like button, subscribe to the Astrology. I need your support here, folks, and keep watching. Om Namah Shivaya. Har Har Mahadev. Now, as you can see on the screen, Scorpios, for you, this multi-planetary conjunction will come into place in your 4th house, but we're talking about the combination of Mars with Rahu here. Now, Mars happens to be your Lagna Lord, your 1st Lord, as well as your 6th house Lord. And he is forming this conjunction with Rahu in your 4th house, which denotes your mental and emotional peace, your mother, your home, your assets, your throne, your property, movable, immovable assets for that matter. And somewhere or the other, there seems to be a domestic war zone which is coming into picture. See, one thing is very good, that the Lagna Lord is remaining in Kendra houses itself in the 4th house. Albeit it is combust, it is getting some drastic energy in your 4th house due to the magnification of Rahu. Now, what we are seeing is that as it enters your home environment, somewhere or the other, there could be an impact coming into picture in your peace, mental and emotional peace, that could get shattered or that could get impacted. It could also create argumentative situations for you at your home front with your family or with your mother as well. So be watchful on that front too. Since Mars talks about real estate, 4th house, and water pipes, etc., can be seen from Rahu, we are talking about some sort of a disruption coming into play at the home front itself. You might have to repair some fire or electricity hazard risks. You might have to proactively avoid them, take due precautions, or you might have to do some sort of a repair work in your water pipes at your home. There's a possibility that some of you could be thinking or planning about expansion of your assets as well, big time, or you could be looking forward to set forth plans in terms of growing your property, purchasing new property, new assets as well. Rahu has been patiently waiting, and I've seen a lot of people in my consultations also asking this, especially coming in from Scorpios, that Dave, since Rahu has entered here, I've been thinking about expansion. Well, when would that materialize? Well, guys, this could be the period where that expansion could come into picture. There is also a possibility that there could be argumentative situations which might come into play with your mother, with your spouse. Matters related to property itself could be the reasons for those argumentative situations, and they might escalate quite rapidly. So you'll have to be careful with respect to your choice of words as well. The important bit is Jupiter for you guys will become direct. So your speech, your communication is going to improve from March 11th onwards. But until then, you will have to be very careful on that front as well. Now, since the Lagna Lord is making a fourth movement into your fourth house itself, it is indicating that some sort of an investment towards property expansion, towards asset expansion, which means many of you could be thinking in terms of buying a new car, upgrading your new car, or upgrading your home itself, moving from a 2-bedroom apartment to a 3 to a 4-bedroom apartment for that matter. Those kind of changes from a rental property perspective as well could come into picture during this period itself. Now it is the sixth lord which is coming in conjunction with Rahu in your fourth, making 11 places away movement, which means gains related to work, career, profession, new job, new income coming into your life during this period is looking highly probable. So many of you might have a job switch come into picture, either forced or voluntary. For other people who are looking forward to an elevation in your ranks, in your designation, in your position, that is also looking probable. So that is on the positive sphere of things coming in here. But you've got to understand this Mars is giving an aspect towards your seventh house, guys. And with that Angarak Yoga looking into the seventh combust Mars, there could be difficult situations arriving in terms of your business partnership with your spouse, argumentative situations arising on that front. So be careful whilst navigating this period. Mars is giving an aspect into the sign of Leo in your 10th house where Ketu is placed. And all of these shifts, I've already touched upon the job aspect on a day-to-day basis. On your daily rhythm perspective, I see some aggression coming into picture. You fighting hard to overcome your obstacles. You doing a lot of action from your side at your work front as well. Be careful with respect to health. Monitor yourself whilst driving, whilst operating on any heavy machinery or equipment, because that can be a critical thing at this point in time. Then Mars is giving an aspect, 8th aspect towards your 11th house. So it is indicating when the Lagna Lord is doing that along with Rahu, there is a magnification of gains which could be seen in the next few weeks coming in your life. It could be financial gains or wish fulfillment coming your way. Now you'll have to be very careful with respect to navigating any kind of sell or purchase of real estate at this point in time. And the reason I say is that Mercury, which is the lord of decision making, your 8th lord and your 11th lord, will be coming into retrogression. We'll touch upon that in the larger monthly reading of March as well. So I would want you to be thinking carefully and calmly about it. Be ready to do some sort of an effort, some sort of a hard work, or else spending could be coming in with respect to your home. So, moving around furniture, doing some physical activities at your home itself, doing some day-to-day chores, may be in a way a good activity to exhaust that conjunction coming into play with Rahu. Be watchful about doing certain kind of repairs at home, because that possibility is also coming into play. Now, last but not the least, folks, before you jump onto another section, or if you want to watch another video after watching the Scorpio bit for yourself, maybe another Lagna or moon sign for yourself, my humble request to you would be, please smash on that like button, subscribe to Dev Astrology, and keep watching me. Om Namah Shivaya. Har Har Mahadev. Now, as you guys can see on the screen here, the conjunction of Mars and Rahu is happening for you, Sagittarius, in the 3rd house of your courage, willpower, your communication, siblings, your hobbies. And I would want to warn you folks that this could be a period of extreme bravery, bordering recklessness as well. Why do I say that? See, Mars happens to be the lord of your fifth house, which has made 11 places away from itself into the third, as well as being the lord of the 12th, 4 places away from itself in the third. And that is the crucial bit for you folks to notice. Well, the conjunction here is happening not in a bad way, because Rahu in its own nakshatra, in its own sign, is very powerful at this point in time. For the next 37 to 39 days when this conjunction will be in place, you've got to remember that Mars also loves the third house presence. And Rahu in itself is considered a Lakshmi Yoga in the third house. So Sagittarius, there is going to be a sense of fearlessness in you. You are going to feel extremely confident, self-reliant, enterprising by nature, ready to take any kind of risk. And therefore, I said it could be bordering recklessness as well, because you've got to be careful that you do not take such risky bets that it might result into some sort of a loss, given Mars is the lord of the 12th house for you. You've got to understand that the Angarak Yoga is forming into the house of communication. And Mercury will get retrograded from Feb 25th onwards. That means your speech can be detrimental as well, and the Angarak Yoga can make it cutting like a knife, cutting like a sword, especially in your oral, written, formal communication at your workplace, with the public, in larger domain, maybe on social media as well. Then you've got to understand that you might run into the risk of sending a response over an email or over a social media post, which might get a lot of negative, undue attention as well for you during this point of time. So you'll have to be very careful that your aggression, your passion is not spilling over in a negative direction, because it can trigger some sort of massive controversy as well for you. From a speech perspective, since it is happening in the third house, the relationship with your siblings, your younger siblings, could also get impacted. So be careful on that front. You might just take up a war and argument with your neighbor for that matter, because neighborhood can also be seen on that front. But at the same time, I anticipate that many of you Sagittarius will get aggressively active in physical hobbies, in physical activities. It could be trekking, it could be weightlifting, it could be any activity that burns your energy, that burns your passion for that matter. Any kind of physical sport, tennis, cricket, soccer, those kind of interest areas might get triggered for you. Since Mars happens to be the lord of your fifth house and it has moved 11 places away from itself, it does indicate some sort of financial gains coming your way through speculative trading activities as well. Now, don't be overzealous, because as I said, it could be borderline reckless for you folks. But the 11th position for the fifth lord is indicating you are going to use your wit. You are going to use your intelligence, your cleverness, your smartness in your trading pursuits. Some sort of romantic gains are also looking possible, or your efforts to build a new romantic relationship might be fructifying during this period. Now, Mars being the lord of your 12th house does indicate the risk of some accidental situations, some financial losses also coming into picture because of that rush, of that hurry. So avoid that. It's giving an aspect towards your 6th house. So your ability to overcome your obstacles, enemies, difficult situations will be on the rise. You will be able to overcome any kind of health related matters as well. Remember, Rahu is in Shatabisha. The mutual aspect of these planets is falling into your 9th house. Be careful in the formal situations with your boss, superiors, leaders, managers, professors, gurus, mentors, with your father, to avoid any confrontational, argumentative situations with them. Last but not the least, Mars will give an aspect towards your 10th house as well. So yes, your passion at your workplace, in your karma, is going to be highly evident. As I already earlier mentioned, that there will be a tremendous, enterprising behavior, taking matters in your own hand, which would be coming into picture. The only advice I would still say is, if you are getting into some heated situation, take a step back. Maybe draft that email and save it for a minute. Reflect back the next day, an hour later, so that you can respond to situations than just replying, than just reacting to matters. Now, before you jump onto any other section or you go on to watch another video outside of the Sagittarius one from my channel, my request to you folks would be, this is the best muhurt to smash on that like button, subscribe to Dev Astrology, and keep watching me. Om Namah Shivaya. Har Har Mahadev. Now folks, as you guys can see on the screen here, that this conjunction, the Angarak Yoga of Mars and Rahu, is coming into play in your second house where other planets are also placed. In fact, this is exactly the house where solar eclipse had also come into place for you a week back. And we've got to understand that the conjunction is happening in your second house, Capricorn, in the house of your wealth, speech, family. And this is where you will be navigating the next 39, 37 odd days with a burning tongue. Well, this is what I would say, because that planet Mars depicts heat, it depicts energy, it depicts passion, it depicts aggression, and it only gets multiplied with the presence of Rahu, which is sitting in its own nakshatra in the second house itself. And it is definitely indicating that your ruler Mars, which rules your 4th house and your 11th house, it is going to bringing your extreme focus towards these areas, magnification of these areas along with a very sharp hurting tongue. This is going to be a period where you will be looking forward to magnify your financial gains. You could be looking forward to make very sudden, impulsive financial decisions, which might as well have the risk of turning into smoke, because folks, you've got to remember, Rahu is about illusions. And therefore, that big risk, that big appetite in terms of expanding your assets, that big vehicle, that car that you've been eyeing for long time, that big property that you've been looking forward to upgrade yourself into, that desire that you've been carrying within yourself and you want to accomplish it with respect to gains, is going to be burning within you during this phase, during this duration itself. But you've got to be careful and understand the strength of Rahu and Mars in your natal chart as well. It's important to see the dignity of Saturn too, but especially Rahu's situation in your natal chart will give you a lot more clarity as to how this period is going to pan out for you. Yes, one thing is for sure, that many of you will be taking in measures in terms of expanding your social circle. There could be, though, heated arguments coming into picture. And these arguments can be detrimental, firstly from a family perspective, from a home perspective, and then second with respect to your social network perspective too. Be very careful in terms of putting in those remarks, in terms of putting in those comments to people, because it can bring in backlash or disrespect to you as well. There could be situations, I meant the previous point from a social media perspective, but from a social network perspective, from your friend circle perspective, any kind of argumentative situations that brings in a difference of opinion, thought process, might turn into a heated argument pretty soon. And this is the negative bit from a family perspective, because you see, this is happening in your second house, being the lord of your 4th and 11th. So your entire immediate inner circle gets impacted by your language with the choice of your words. And that's why I said earlier, the burning tongue. You'll have to be careful on that front. Then the bit is that because Mars represents your 4th house, there could be an extreme desire or an illusion of sorts as well, that you can take the risk to get something big. Now that expansion could be in terms of your vehicle or in terms of your house, but you've got to understand that you must cut the coat according to your cloth. You must not go in an expansive region, because this will impact your wealth too. However, there is a massive wealth yoga. If you play your cards well, this might result into expansion in your savings, in your overall income and growth. So you've got to understand the right pivot for yourself during this period. Do not be reckless in your strategy. Mars from here is going to be looking into your 5th house. It can bring in possessiveness, aggression, speculative activities, possessiveness and aggression towards your romantic partner. Interest in speculative activities or trading activities could be on the rise. For people who are parents and watching this video, I anticipate some of you could become too strict with your children as well. However, this is going to be a good period for your educational pursuits if you're a student watching this video. Both Mars and Rahu will be giving an aspect towards your 8th house. It is second to the 7th. Joint finances for married people are definitely going to be impacted. Some sort of a shift is coming into picture, maybe disagreement with respect to financial management as well. Sudden arguments or sudden shift with respect to inheritance, with respect to insurance related sort of gains could also be triggered during this period. But because Ketu is placed there, there will be a tendency of you letting go. Whilst Rahu and Mars are here for the next 39-40 days period, well, it gives you a tremendous video to protect your own wealth and savings as well. It's giving an aspect to the 8th house, and that makes things crucial to the last bit, which means argumentative situations with your father, any political disagreements at your workplace, with your superiors, with your mentors, gurus, teachers, clients for that matter, any matter where you are not in principal agreement with the other party, you must be watchful of your speech and communication so that it doesn't hurt you deep down. All in all, this is going to be a period where you must keep a check on your temper. You must remain silent, absolute silence when you are upset. Do not react, respond to situations. Be watchful of your words, of your communication, and if you are strategic enough, you could be multiplying your wealth as well, Capricorn, during this period. Now, the most important bit is before you jump on to watch another section or another video of some other sign in my channel itself, after you've watched Capricorn, maybe from a rising Lagna or from moon sign perspective, this is the best muhurt for you to smash on that like button, subscribe to Dev Astrology, and keep watching me. Om Namah Shivaya. Har Har Mahadev. Now, Aquarius, for you folks, the conjunction of Rahu and Mars is happening in your first house, in your Lagna itself, if you are watching from a Lagna perspective or Rashi perspective in your first. And this is clearly indicating that this is going to be a period of like a water pressure or, pressure cooker of sorts. In fact, pressure cooker is a better example because you are going to feel lot of steam, lot of energy, heightened heat within you during this period in the next 37-39 days duration. See, the cluster of planets is already on top of your head. The eclipse of solar happened in the first house itself for you folks. I had made a video. If you've not had a chance, go check that out as well. And now when Mars moves into your first house itself, it is the shift of your 10th lord and your 3rd lord in your first house, which means work, career, profession, karma, efforts, your courage, etc. is going to see 3x multiplication thanks to the presence of that Rahu in the first house, which by the way is strengthened in its own sign, in its own Shatabisha Nakshatra. We've done a video on that front as well in the past. You've got to understand that this is indicating an overwhelming amount of physical and mental energy, a surge of sorts happening for you on that front. After all, it is in your body, on top of your head, and therefore you could face situations of migraines, headaches, stress-like situations coming your way. Since 10th lord is in the first house, it is clearly indicating that work, your karma, your effort is going to be your top-notch priority. You are going to be extremely busy in the next few weeks to go Aquarius. You are going to be taking your work as your first priority, your efforts as your first priority, because Mars also happens to be your 3rd lord. Therefore, lot of enterprising behavior, lot of proactiveness, taking charge on matters, taking charge on things is naturally going to come to you during this period. Mars is making an 11th movement, being the lord of the 3rd house for you. And therefore, there should be a possibility of gains coming into your siblings, coming in through your own willpower and courage. Your decision making and your effort, your karma is going to reward you as well. This is going to be a period where many of you Aquarius could be doing physical, strenuous activities as well, like maybe hitting the gym, picking up hobbies that are like playing physical sports, running, jogging. Those kind of initiatives will come into picture. Many of you could pick up habits like taking a sauna or a steam bath during this period. Cooking could be of interest, and therefore restaurant related initiatives, new startups, business ideas from that perspective, or with respect to social media communication, starting new Instagram, YouTube sort of channels, new LinkedIn page, and communicating your ideas through a blog, etc., through a video making is going to be happening at its peak. You are going to be very proactive and aggressive towards defining and reinventing your identity, your persona, your perception to the larger world. These are positive elements that are coming into picture. But since it is Mars, there will be aggression as well. There will be harshness in your speech, in your communication as well. You could be extremely aggressive, or you could be coming across aggressive to the larger world too. So be mindful of that. Now, Mars from here is going to be aspecting your fourth house, and fourth Lord Venus will remain exalted for a major duration. So, Aquarius, it gives the possibility of some expansion of your assets, financial, your property, real estate assets, maybe a purchase of a new vehicle, etc. Something of that sort where you invest towards your growth, your expansion could be one of your priorities. But you will have to be careful in terms of navigating your relationship with your spouse, with your business partner, with your business colleagues in the business landscape as well, because that aggression might construe into something negative as well that could be detrimental for your relationships. Mars is also giving an aspect towards the 8th house. It's a protective aspect, but your interest in occult could be on the rise. Many people, for example, if you're a Westerner watching this video, you could now see a heightened interest towards Vedic astrology, or for some other occult science for that matter. There could be impact in your joint finances with your spouse if you're married. There could be argumentative situations on that matter. So don't hold too much of an importance in terms of keeping everything under your grasp, because you could personally have more of that tendency, and therefore your partner, your business partner, or your spouse could feel suffocated in that energy. So be careful on that front. Yes, matters related, sudden shifts related to inheritance situations, accidental situations, or situations related to insurance related matters could also come into picture. Now, my humble suggestion, advice, remedy for you folks, Aquarius, during this period is that work out, sweat it out throughout this period. Hit the gym, go out for running, do some sort of martial arts, any kind of new hobby that you want to pick up, gym, etc., or any kind of new sports, that because it's the third lord coming into the Lagna. If you are physically exhausting your energies, you will, if you're not doing that, then you will turn that into anxiety, because that is what Angarak Yoga can do to you as well. After all of it is happening on top of your head. Now, the most important bit that you have to remember is, before you jump on to watch another video from my channel, maybe you finished watching Aquarius from a rising as well as moon sign perspective, and before you jump on, my request to you would be that please smash on the like button, subscribe to Dev Astrology, and keep watching me. Om Namah Shivaya, Har Har Mahadev. Now, as you can see on the screen, Pisces, for you folks, this Angarak Yoga is coming into picture in your 12th house. Now, Mars happens to be your 9th lord and your 2nd lord. So it is like a Yoga Karaka planet in your case. And this conjunction is coming into play in the 12th house of expenses, isolation, foreign entities and elements, spirituality, your sleep, and bed pleasures. And therefore, you can see a magnanimous rise across all or many of these areas. See, the first bit that you will realize is that this is the house of subconsciousness. And Mars denoting energy and Rahu denoting expansion, this Angarak Yoga is indicating some sort of anger in your subconscious self coming into picture, which means it can result into a heightened amount of energy in action in some areas, and for some or for the rest of you, it could result into a buildup of a lot of frustration as well. Now, this is a time where you could be tossing around and turning around at night because you will be fighting the invisible battles in your head. Now, those battles could result into insomnia as well. Why do I say invisible battles? These invisible battles are the representation of your expenses. It could be your losses. It could be the shift that is coming in, you trying to put your effort into something and that not materializing into the outcome that you are anticipating. Now, the expenses that are coming your way, Pisces, could be related to technology. They could be related to travel, especially foreign long distance travels coming into picture. It could be medicine related, medical health related expenses, which could suddenly spike and create an impact in your life. Then you have to remember that the ninth lord is coming into that expansion mode in the 12th house. So foreign connections, long distance travels requiring big expenses may be resulting into luxurious lifestyle as well, because Pisces, Venus will be coming into exaltation, and I'm going to touch deeper into that when we do the monthly reading for March. So that luxurious impact could also be coming into picture for you folks. Now, this is all happening in the 12th house. So some unknown secret enemies could be planning or plotting against you, which could also keep you awake, which could create difficult situations. So you'll have to be watchful on that front as well. Then at the same time, you've got to remember it is your second lord which has moved 11 places away, which means some of these investments, some of these expenses might be resulting into longer term wealth creation for you, and therefore the possibility of you making right investment choices. Because after all, your ninth lord is into the 12th. So your luck could also play a favor in the direction where you are making your expenses. That might come into picture. You've got to understand that the ninth lord has moved 4 places away from itself. The satisfaction of your spirituality, the satisfaction of your belief system or your luck favoring will also come if you are investing, spending. Maybe you got to put a spiritual path like meditating, or it could be doing some charitable activities, making some donations, which might result into a positive flow for you. Then Mars sitting from here will be giving an aspect towards your third house. And this aspect with the third lord later moving into exaltation, as well as I was talking about, it gives a clear indication that there will be a lot of hard work, a lot of effort coming into play from your side. You could be picking up some new hobbies, short distance travels could be coming into picture. Working out might be a very strong possibility and a positive shift for you folks, Pisces. I have highlighted this for other folks as well. So work out during this period, hit the gym, do some exercises. You are going to be burning a lot of negative energies into those physical activities. Maybe playing a sport, a game out in the open, soccer, doing some physical activity in the form of swimming, running around, pumping the iron. All of those things look very positive, and it will give you the right outcomes too. Enterprising mindset could be there. However, the efforts could go into a lot of wasteful activities as well. Mars and Rahu will be giving an aspect towards the 6th house. You would be making efforts to tackle your enemies at your job and work front. This is the time where you will get protective and aggressive about those initiatives too. Many of you could get the new job opportunities or work opportunities during this period. Ketu had been placed in the 6th house for a long duration for you folks, Pisces. And therefore, you'll have to be careful that this is the time where either by your self-initiative or automatically situation might arise with respect to a new job probability, with respect to a job change. Then this is a period, because Rahu is in Shatabisha Nakshatra, both of them giving an aspect to the 6th house will give the possibility of you overcoming any kind of health related matters as well. However, health related expenses could be there. It could be in the form of medicines, or it could be in the form of some unexpected things that you might not have thought of. Your savings could get impacted because of it. Mars is giving an aspect to the 7th house as well, which means some aggressive situations with your spouse, argumentative situations towards your spouse can come. By the way, it can flip itself. You might count that as a remedy or a positive shift. Engaging in physical activities, in bed pleasure with your spouse, with your partner is a right thing, because that is going to only compensate any kind of negative aspects, and it is going to flourish your connection. So you could find yourself more possessive, more attracted towards your spouse and partner with a physical bonding coming into picture. The piece of advice that I would suggest is, if you are having any medicines, keep them next to your bed, consume them daily, regularly. Maybe doing some bit of meditation before sleeping may also not be a bad idea. Pisces, it is hyper crucial that you do not go about sharing your secrets about your plans to the larger world. Do not disclose your strategies to people at this point in time, because the planets, whilst there are multiple planetary positions are there, they are giving a sixth house aspect to, and therefore attracting evil eye or attracting ill luck before accomplishing something, and sharing those plans with the larger world can turn out negative. Do not celebrate early, take time on that bit. Now, before you jump onto some other section or some other video on my channel, this is the most opportune time, the best muhurat for you to smash on that like button, subscribe to Dev Astrology, and keep watching me on my channel. Om Namah Shivaya, Har Har Mahadev.